Howdy everyone, I'm back at it again. It's a beautiful morning for some kayak fishing. So we're going to try for some bass out here today. I really wanted to come out and do some frog fishing. I had a few different hollow body style lures I was throwing back and forth to try out here today. The one I decided to go with is the Teckel Sharker. Kind of an interesting looking lure. It looks like a little shark. But there's a couple reasons why I thought this might be a good one for this time of year. For one, just judging by the shape of it, I think it's going to be a walk the dog, hollow body kind of lure. Right now the lily pads aren't fully up yet. They're starting to pop up, but they're not real thick quite yet, so there's still plenty of room to walk this lure around up shallow there. And it has some nice big gaps there between the lure body and the hook points. So once the vegetation does get a little bit thicker up there, it might not work so well or be as good of an option as some maybe a little bit more weedless lures. With that bigger hook gap, it's going to snag that vegetation a lot more. Yeah, we'll give it a try out here today. Kind of a neat looking lure. We'll tie it on, toss it around, and we'll see if I can hook into something out here today that'll make me say we're going to need a bigger boat. There we go, the Teckel Sharker. I'm pretty sure he's going to have a walk the dog type of action to him. We'll check it out. It's kind of like a hollow body spook type of lure. Yeah, it looks like he's got a little bit of a back and forth action. I know a lot of the topwater strikes I get out here are reaction strikes anyway, where, ooh, I've got bluegill nipping at my sharker. A lot of those topwater strikes I get out here are kind of reaction strikes where I throw that lure right on top of a fish. Hey, they are hitting topwater. That's good to see. First bass of the day on the Sharker. Man, I got him hooked good. Little guy. Hey, we're on the board. Only took, what, a couple of casts. This stuff back here is pretty fishy looking. There we go. Ooh. Get over here, you. Well, there's the first nice fish of the day on the Sharker. It's not a bad bass right there. On the shark lure. All right. I've got a couple on that guy so far. Yeah, this lure is really not the greatest if you plan on fishing a lot of thick lily pads like this. Just too much of a hook gap. It likes to catch on them. Yeah, it's really more of a open water kind of hollow body lure, I'd say. Hitting those little patches of open water between the lily pads, or it scared me. Or some of the little open patches right along some of these floating bogs. Kind of like where I just caught that last fish. There's a couple lakes where I frog fish where that's pretty much all I do is fish the edge of the cattails, because those cattails are on floating bogs. I mean, there's not a whole lot of lily pads or anything out in front of them. I think this Sharker lure would probably be great on some of those lakes. Yeah, it's kind of a struggle if I try to fish them through some of this thicker stuff here. What was that? Might have been a little bluegill. Yeah, I don't think it was anything real big, whatever it was. We'll keep looking for the monster. Oh, I threw that one right on top of that fish over there. Didn't even really see him hit it. All I saw was the splash of my lure. Oh, you get up here. Wow. Well, that's the kind of fish I was hoping to find out here today. Got that one on the Sharker. Yeah, he was hanging out real shallow up there. Threw that little shark right on top of that fish. Off he goes. Yeah, that one kind of surprised me. Hoping I can get at least one big bass to come blast that thing as I'm doing the walk the dog retrieve. Right along the edge of some lily pads out here somewhere. There we go. This is a decent one. Come here, bud. That's not a bad fish right there. He came up and inhaled the Sharker. Nice. There he goes. Right back into that stuff I pulled him out of. I can see a lot of this stuff. There's some hollow space underneath there where those fish can tuck underneath there, get some shade, hide out, and wait for lunch to come swimming by. There's one hanging out over here in the lily pads. Surprise! Decent little bass there. Give that one a tongue piercing with that shark lure. Just a little guy. I haven't found any monsters willing to hit topwater out here quite yet today. We got a couple nice ones in, but I have seen a couple real big fish sitting up shallow. I spent about 15 minutes trying to catch one of them with the wacky worm, but no luck there. Oh, well, I got to see him at least. Hey, we're finding some fish out here in the lily pads. I have been fishing the pads a little bit. I haven't found much up until this point, but this is probably the deepest patch of them that I've found. I'm mostly just trying to work that lure around some of the open water, like the edges of the lily pads, the little patches of open water in the middle. I'm trying not to throw them just right into the thick of it. That's a decent one. Hey, well, that makes up for the one that I just lost, because I think that's about the same size fish. Not bad at all. That one grabbed that sharker as I was doing the walk the dog action with him. Didn't even really see the strike. I think the lure was swimming underwater just a bit. It's one thing I have noticed with this lure, sometimes when you do that walk the dog action, he does dip just beneath the surface, maybe an inch or two, but it really depends on the speed that you fish him at. I think if you try to walk the dog a little bit faster like that, he's gonna go underwater a little bit more. But if you do it nice and slow like that, he, for the most part, stays up on the surface. Oh, you stay on. That's a nice one. Get in my net. Well, we're finding some fish out here in the lily pads. Usually I find most of the bass tucked up along the shore on this lake, but not today, it seems. Another nice one on the Sharker. Decent bass. It's probably about an 18-inch fish. Oh, that was a big one there, I think. Come on up here, you. Didn't even feel that one bite. Guessing I still had some water in my frog and he sunk down there. That's a nice fish. Yeah, I thought that was a nice one that I missed over there. Nice. Another one on the Sharker. Yeah, we're catching a bunch of fish like that today. Not a bad day of fishing at all. That's the first one I've found out here on the main part of the lake, though. Pretty much everything else I've caught today has been way down there at the shallow end. I am working my way down that way, it's pretty similar down there. We've got some floating bog type stuff, some lily pads. Got my braid wrapped around my rod tip about 20 times here. All right, we're back in business. There we go. Oh, don't you jump. Oh yeah. There's a nice fish. On the Sharker. Just a beauty of a bass. Oh man, I just barely had that one hooked. Nice. I just love watching them swim away in this clear water. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for today's trip. I've completed my lap around the lake. Caught a whole bunch of bass out here today with that Teckel Sharker. What a fun day of fishing it's been. Yeah, it is really an interesting lure. It's kind of a cross between a hollow body frog and something like the spook, more of a walk the dog kind of lure. But it worked really well. I'm pretty happy with that lure. The one thing that it's not real great for is tossing it into real thick vegetation, but I mean, it's hard to beat the classic hollow body frog for that. Where the Sharker really shined was tossing them into the little gaps of open water in the middle of lily pads, working those outer edges of the pads, working the edges of some of the floaty bog type stuff. Yeah, we had a bunch of nice fish come up and slam that Sharker. So I had a blast out here today. Caught lots of fish. It was a perfect day to be out here in the kayak. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for coming along with me again. I'll see you next time.